I'm Councilman Imbroto. We're here in Farmingdale at Lithology Brewing, one of my favorite breweries in the town of Oyster Bay, with one of the owners, Manny. He's going to tell us a little bit about the brewery, where all the beer is made on site using New York State ingredients. Manny, how did all this get started?
It all got started in a garage, really. Home brewing with my best friend. Bought him a homebrew kit, and he called me up. It was for Christmas at the time. You got like these 1 gallon homebrew kits, and he called me up and he said, well, you bought it, you're gonna come and brew with me. Quickly turned into an obsession of us, and in 2015, we joined with other 2 guys that we homebrewed with, started the company, and we found a place called the Taste of Long Island, which is where we're sitting right now. It was a brewery / co-op kitchen where you would sign up, brew in the back in the kitchen, and we would be wholesaling. We did that for about 8 months, and then the owner of Taste of Long Island wanted to move. So we quickly got together, had a meeting that lasted about 8 hours, and said we're gonna take over as the host brewer. And fast forward, we're here, now it's our brewery. We still do some alternating proprietorship.
So you started out as a tenant in this brewery with a different host. You took that over,
yes.
And now you serve as a host brewer, and other tenants can come in, sort of get their own business started, and then maybe go out on their own.
Yes. During COVID, Jones Beach Brewing Company reached out to us, and they were looking for a space. They want to open up be a brewery, but they didn't want a brick and mortar and have an overhead of a lease right away. So they want to see if they liked owning a brewery. So they asked, would you be willing to do the alternating proprietorship again? So we made them the tenant brewer. We're the host brewer. So now they brew here twice a month. They have their own fermenters here. And with that, they're able to wholesale all their beer. And we put them on tap as a guest tap, which is one of the perks of being a farm brewery. You're able to have New York guest taps like wine, mead, cider, and other farm breweries throughout New York. So we right now have Small Craft Brewing Company is on tap. Their New England is on tap. Jones Beach Brewing Company, our tenant brewer, they're always on tap. We go from Dubco, anyone who's a farm brewer in New York State, we could carry. So
it's almost like a brewing apprenticeship program. They have access to the professional equipment. They get to see how you're running a business, and sort of build their own brand and build their own business before someday
possibly opening up their own, or maybe they just want the business of just being a tenant brewer. They don't want an overhead of a tasting room and having employees and more insurance that's needed for that. And could just be a business plan where it's just like, we're just going to make beer twice a month and wholesale it to different restaurants, and we're never going to have a tasting room.
So all of the beer is brewed on site, and it's using largely New York State ingredients under the New York State Farm Brewing Program. Could you tell me a bit about how that works?
Yeah, so we're a New York State farm brewery, so which means that when you come here and you have our beer, we have 60% or more ingredients that are made in New York, coming from New York farms. With that, it allows us to also have guest taps, and wine and spirits that are also made by New Yorkers.
So when a customer comes to Lithology, they're not just getting the beer that Manny makes, they're also getting a chance to get a taste of Long Island through this farm brewing program?
Yeah, really the taste of New York, because we have Black Button from Rochester, I have Better Man Distilling, our tenant brewer, Jones Beach Brewing Company, is on tap. We have WA Meadworks out of Lindenhurst. We reach out to anybody that has a New York State farm license when we need to fill, or I dedicate 2 of my taps to guest taps, and then let's say I'm running low on a tap, and the tap kicks, I can call somebody that I know, because we're a very tight community. I was like, hey, I need one of your New England IPAs.
So now let's get to the part that I've been waiting for. Why don't you tell us about some of your beers, your flagship beers, and then let's taste some.
Yes, so our flagship beers that you find usually all year round is A-Frame Pilsner, the LB IPA, the legal APA, and my favorite, the Brown Ale, which is part of our flight right here. That's my baby. That was mine and my best friend Lee, who's also a co-owner. We used to make this in our garage every week. And it was one of the recipes that we brought over when we first started. So,
do you also can your drinks?
So we do small batch canning. We have a mobile canner that comes in. Actually, because Jones Beach Brewing was here, they can most of their stuff. So we jump in on the canning line. There's a mobile canner called Maltman Canning. They come in, they set up right in the back, and we can all of our batches at that time. So I do about 15 cases each batch. The rest is all kegs that we serve out of the tap. So once a month, you'll see like maybe 2 different varieties of mine in cans, but very small and it's very limited.
We were talking about the A-frame Pilsner before. That's an award-winning Pilsner, if I have that correct, right?
You got that correct. A year ago, we entered into the New York State Brewers Association competition and we got silver, going for gold this year. It's usually on all the time. The Pilsner is one of the toughest beers to make as a craft brewery. You're trying to take beer and take the flavor out of it and make it taste like nothing. And it's the most common drank beer throughout all beer enthusiasts. Like either if you love craft beer or you just like the Main Street beers. Most popular style is a lager, which a Pilsner is a form of a lager. So we had to make a good Pilsner, but it is the most challenging. You can't hide behind anything.
That's really interesting to me. So when you're making a Pilsner, you're going for that clean, crisp flavor. You're saying take almost all the flavor out.
Yeah.
So that makes it more difficult to make because you don't have the ability to add any sort of spice or any other flavors to mask anything.
You're not hiding anything. As a brewer, you're showing all your cards as a Pilsner. So if you make a really good Pilsner, you know what you're doing as a brewer. So
what's the brewing process? You boil it, you keg it, you drink it?
Yeah, just like that. That's simple. Yeah. So no, we boil it. It's about a 6 to 8 hour brew day. That gets transferred into a fermenter. Then we add the yeast. The yeast do their thing. The byproduct of yeast, alcohol. Usually takes about 2 weeks for a basic ale, IPAs, 2.5 weeks. A Pilsner takes 6 to 8 weeks. And that's why Pilsners are always a tough thing to make because it takes so long. It's a beer that takes very long and it takes a fermenter out of the way, so I can't make other beers, but it is the most liked style. So
what else do we have here in front of us?
So we got Fetch Quest, which is the beer, the corky beer. That's a passion fruit, dragon fruit IPA. I got the Marzen style lager. It's kind of like a winter lager, so it's gonna have a little bit more flavor than a Pilsner, but it's gonna be more for like winter times, like most of the time like Oktoberfest style. We have the mead. The mead is a rescue mead. That's a guest tap. It's a raspberry mead, so it's made with honey. If you've never had mead, it's like a big Viking thing.
This is going back to the time of Beowulf, right?
Yes, yeah. So they're out of WA Meadworks. There's not many meaderies in New York. We have one of them on Long Island, and you could find them in a lot of breweries throughout Long Island, especially the farm brewers. You find them on tap all the time. So me and Roger are always talking, and he's always putting one of his meads on. It does very, very well here.
Do you have beer to go?
Yeah, so we have crowlers, 32-ounce crowlers. If you don't know what it is, it's a 32-ounce can that you can order whatever's on tap, freshly gets poured into that can, sealed up, and you can bring it home. We also have the limited 4-packs that we have, the batches that we do with malt canning. And we got liquor and wine to go. Any bottles that we have are also available to be sold to go.
So not just coming in for a beer, if you need something for a party, you could come in here, you could get beer to go, you could get liquor to go.
Yes, yeah, so our biggest seller in the winter time for holidays is a bourbon creamer by Black Button Distillery. It's really good. We always stock up for the holidays because we get people who have last minute gift ideas that they can do. They grab a 4-pack and a creamer to go.
Or you're on your way to a holiday party and you want to pick something up on the way, everything made right here in the state of New York.
Absolutely. So we could, with our license, it allows us to also retail bottles to go. So we're the only place in New York that you can buy beer, wine, and spirits to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that you guys have a lot of games in the back. I've played Jenga here before, and you have a whole schedule of activities. Do you want to tell us about those?
Yeah, so we have a Tuesday night game night, so you could come down, bring your own game, or you could play any of ours. Wednesday nights, we got book club once a month. Thursday nights, we have bingo. Friday and Saturday nights, we have live music. You got to go to Instagram to see our live music schedule.
So what's the story with the art that's hanging on the walls?
That's actually by a local artist, and every month we showcase a new artist, and we have a Meet the Artist night at the beginning of that month, and you have the chance to come talk to the artist and also buy the paintings. We also have merch for sale, and the new merch that we have is also in collaboration with the New York State Brewers Association promoting New York beer, and we started doing our can art. Killer Queen, which is Mary's beer, it's bartender's beer, and Fetch Quest, which is Jean's beer, which is the one with the corgi on it. So we're going to start doing more of that kind of merchandise, so highlighting more of the art.
So come on down to Lithology Brewing here in Farmingdale and try some of the best beer on Long Island. I'm Councilman Imbroto, and this is Oyster Bay Today. Cheers.
Visit Lithology Brewing Company at 211A Main Street in Farmingdale. Call 516-962-0585 or find us at lithologybrewing.com.